And this is our first session of the pitch, deconstruction, and practice session for the AngleNV Entrepreneurs Bootcamp. So welcome. We're really excited to have you all here at this next session. We'll go ahead and get into it. First of all, I wanted to shed some light on what this process looks like. And a number of you have already seen this, but I want to make it really clear. AngleNV is a process whereby we bring two sides of the coin together, investors and entrepreneurs. And you guys are currently in the Entrepreneur Bootcamp. The AngleNV Entrepreneur Bootcamp is a program to teach founders from Nevada mostly a little bit of entrepreneurism and startup 101, but a lot of raising capital 101 with a special emphasis on early stage investors and angel investors. And we, through the course of this 13-session, 15-week bootcamp, provide resources and training and information from top-notch speakers, exited founders, venture attorneys, investors, et cetera, to teach you guys a little bit about this process and to help you gain the knowledge and insight you need to make a decision on whether to go raise capital, to build a little bit more and go raise capital, and how to do so. And at the end of this session, it gets really exciting because we will be opening up an application for you to apply to pitch to our Conference of Angel Investors. See, on the other end of the spectrum, we also believe in providing resources and building the investor ecosystem, whereby we take dozens of accredited investors, train them on the investment analysis process, syndication, due diligence, deal terms, and deal flow, and how to make good investments in good founders and good startups. And in April, that'll all come to a head where you and a number of other ventures can take it. We'll have an opportunity to pitch for a grand prize investment of $400,000 into the top Nevada startup. I do want to talk a little bit about why this is possible. So we, through the SSBCI program, State Small Business Credit Initiative, in partnership with the Governor's Office of Economic Development, have been able to bring this program to bear to Nevada, whereby they make matched investments along Startup NV. So Startup NV and our group will be making a $200,000 investment, and it will be matched in kind by the Governor's Office and the SSBCI program. So this is a really exciting initiative that will bring more capital to bear for early stage founders and startups in Nevada. So it's really excited to be partnered with the state on this and to help bring more resources and capital to Nevada founders and entrepreneurs. So tonight, pitch, practice, and deconstruction, where you're going to get an opportunity to pitch your startup concept live, get some feedback. We will have 2 more sessions on this. You are highly encouraged to participate, even in each session. Maggie will go into how this is going to run, run a show here in just a minute. I do want to give you guys a heads up on what's coming up in the coming weeks. So next week on December 6th, we have CJ Cornell, who's an exited founder, investor, educator. He is going to talk about the intro, the basics of raising capital, trying to bring the aggregation of your pitch decks, your go-to-market, and the information you need to know when you go out to first start approaching investors. We'll also have Leif Martin on January 3rd talking about investment due diligence. When an investor wants to make an investment on you, how do you get prepared for them digging under the hood of your startup and ascertaining if you are a good investment fit for their capital? And then lastly, we'll have Craig Macy, who's going to talk about term sheets and investment terminology so that you have the education you need to make sound investment solicitations and to have a relationship with your investors and understand how investment terms work. So we're really excited to have these sessions coming up and sprinkled in there will be 2 more pitch, practice, and deconstruction sessions as well. We are proudly supported by Gust. Gust is one of the top platforms in the world for early stage ventures and angel investors to either bring their venture to light, find investors, gather their data and pitch deck all in one space. And it's also a platform whereby investors can syndicate deals, aggregate data, access other startups, and take a look at your venture. Follow us, please share. If you guys haven't already, please tune into what we're doing here, share, tag. It's really important, some of the work that we're doing here in the ecosystem. We're proud to be doing it. So any assistance is appreciated. And it's a good way to stay in touch with what's going on in our ecosystem as well.
Okay, so this goes back to our very first session about storytelling. And so you have to be able to talk about your startup in different ways. There's the full 10-minute pitch where you're going to go over all the aspects of your business. You'll have longer pitches after that. If you've caught the ear or eye of an investor, you'll have more deeper dive types of meetings. But you need to be able to concisely talk about your startup in just 1 minute. And if you can get it down to 3 sentences, that's even better. But with a minute, you have about 100 words where you can make a story arc and tell us about your startup. So that's what we're doing today. It's very quick. You should also have a 2-minute pitch, and that's the one that's typically an elevator pitch. It's the length of time it takes you to ride in an elevator in New York, not here. I mean, what, 3 floors? You guys are in Vegas, so they're higher there. But yeah, there's not much going on here. So here's how it's going to work. We already have our guinea pig, our first person who's going to pitch, and he gets the benefit of having feedback right away. After he goes, and we have John Abbey with SafeFlight, who volunteered to go, he gets the advantage of being able to pitch again for 1 minute after everybody else goes. So he pitches for 1 minute, he gets feedback from the judges, which includes Logan and Cara and Bill and me and Audrey if she shows up. And then we will go through the rest of the people who sign up. But when we finish, we're going to vote on which company we'd like to hear a 3-minute pitch from. In order to do the 3-minute pitch, you have to have a deck. So if you don't have a deck, you don't have to do the 3-minute pitch and you don't have to be part of the voting. But this is, again, very good practice. 3 minutes is a strange amount of time. It's not requested often, but it gives you enough time to elaborate on certain aspects of your business. Maybe you want to tell us more about your traction, or you want to tell us more about your business model or go-to-market strategy. So all of the things that we talked about in storytelling, now we have to cover certain things. That's what you have to do in a minute and make it interesting.
My name is John Abbey, and I'm the founder of SafeFlight from Incline Village, Nevada. An independent study at LAX from 2019 to mid-2021 revealed 1,200 rogue drone flights over the airport's landing and takeoff pattern in a single month. This problem continues to be validated at dozens of airports across America. It's taken 5 years for the federal government to take meaningful action. In April, the White House published the Domestic Counter-UAS National Action Plan, now before Congress as the Drone Act of 2022. That creates a national integration of 550 Part 139 airports and almost 18,000 federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. One company has spent 7 years pioneering low-altitude airspace enforcement. That company is Incline Village-based SafeFlight.
So John, in about the first 10 seconds, I got the problem. I understood that, and I'm a pilot, so maybe that helped me a little bit, but maybe not. The drones are impacting airports. And then you went into a whole bunch of statistics that in a 1 minute pitch makes you lose focus in terms of the other things that you need to cover. I would have loved to have heard a quick, what is my solution? That then goes on to, how you think you can, why you think the market is big enough to support something like this, that there is a market for it. And maybe you'll get into a little bit of how you might go about trying to get into the market. And then, of course, you can talk about what you're asking. What do you want the investors to do in that 1 minute pitch? You want to get them to call you back. You want to get them to say, sure, call my assistant and let's have another talk. And by focusing too much on the problem, you never got there.
All right, Carl.
I thought it was great. I did get lost in the second half, getting into April and the report that was published. I understand on a longer pitch, that's awesome. That gives you the backup and the credibility that this really is a problem. But I think enhancing that and saying 550, airports are facing this issue, and no drone enforcement on low altitude causes this issue. Just tell me what that means right up front. tell me that nobody else is solving it and you're here. And I know you did that, but maybe just kind of rearrange it in the 1 minute that you have, and just impact me. Hit me with that thing that why is this a problem? Are people at risk? How many people are at risk? What is the scope of that problem? And then just tell me I'm here to solve it. So that's for a 1 minute pitch. But otherwise, I thought your first piece was fantastic.
Okay, Logan.
Hey, John, you know what? I think that I'd have to just echo Cara and Bill. The biggest thing is that you spent most of the time on the problem, which was great. You lost a little bit of steam on the problem in the last half because you didn't have enough information to really validate this to go into the study too much. So problem solution, we are solving the solution is typically, and maybe how big the market is. You say this is a potentially this big of a market, X amount of dollars is the main parts you throw into for the 1 minute. Just an elevator pitch, but definitely define the scope of the problem.
So Tushar, you are up next.
Hi, my name is Tushar. I am CTO to this company, which is building an AI virtual assistant for salespeople. So this story began when, we three founders met, David, Tushar, and Mukul, and we all play like sales roles in our respective companies, startups, and big, large organizations. The problem we ran into was virtual, that as a salesperson, we are always trying to find coaching from our human colleagues, and we are trying to often use tools like CRMs, and they are often left out of date. And the information is spread across tons of our software, sometimes on Google Drive and emails, Slack, obviously CRM tools. So we spoke about this problem to other people in sales. So we interviewed some easily, 36 people, whether sales director and sales managers of all sorts. And we actually assimilated all the various questions or, assistance that they're looking for from their sales colleagues. We assimilated some 100+ things that they ask.
Laura, you are up next.
Hi. Hello, everybody. I'm Laura Watson with Limitless Village, and I'm a former teacher. I always thought I would be a lifelong teacher, but I left the education world to raise my kids, and my soul was crushed when my daughter told me she hated learning. And I recognized that for her, school was toxic and she didn't belong in school, but I couldn't homeschool because I was running a business. So I have decided to set out and create my own education program. It's a co-working space and co-learning space for parents and their children, and it's called Limitless Village. And basically it allows for learning at all ages, whether it's business learning, parenting, self-directed education for children, to develop that love of learning so that parents can spend more time with their children, no matter the economic level or their education background, and have the ability to homeschool with ease, and therefore develop the love of learning for all ages.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Dr. Frances Richards, CEO of Arlene Richards, LLC. We're a media communications and public relations company. People, planet, and profits is sustainability in a nutshell. As a business owner, you should have your sustainability development plan in place to talk to your internal customer, your employees, your external customers, your client, and the community. Arlene Richards, LLC, we are here as a communications, media, and public relations company to help you communicate and prepare your sustainability development plan. Don't get caught up in all the jargon of sustainability. Reach out and connect with us.
Victory is up next.
So hi, everyone. My name is Victory Igbinobaro. I am the co-founder and CEO of Air AI. Air AI actually emerged out of the UNLV competition earlier this year, where we came out third for pitching a solution to digitize Las Vegas. Las Vegas is known as a gaming city, as a digital city, but there's a growing divide with people getting access to the 3D data that is needed to actually continue to plan and digitize and build this city. Drones are already being used to collect these 3D data that are needed, geographic 3D data. But the problem is there is no systemic way to collect, process, and then share that data amongst people who need it, such as architects, engineers, and construction workers. as an architectural designer and as a licensed drone pilot, we put a team together earlier this year at UNLV to come up with a solution to create a systemic process for digitizing our city and making geographic 3D data more available to people. So far, we have gathered over
Victory?
3,000 acres worth. Yes.
Your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
My name is Stacey Elaine Sharp. I'm the founder and CEO of JobDog.com. I'm sure all of you have heard of staffing agencies, job boards like Indeed, Career Builder, and Monster. They are great, but there's gaps that exist because they're just a job match platform and a resume posting platform. JobDog is a job assignment platform where people can get alerted of job assignments right on their mobile device anywhere they are. We're almost like an Uber of jobs where employers can hire 90% faster than using staffing agencies and job boards, because every candidate has already been vetted with background checks, skill set tested, and they also have been e-verified with video presentations of themselves. Employers can also dig a little further and set up online live interviews. If they want to hire someone quickly, all they have to do is hit an alert button to the candidates that they've selected on the JobDog platform, and then the candidate shows up to work, and the candidate can get alerted anywhere they are, whether they live in Las Vegas and they want to travel back home. I'm from Ohio, so I can go back home and I can switch my app over to pick up job assignments there.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is George. And for this 1 minute, I'd like to present my my invention, a kitchen tool for bao, B-A-O, a Chinese food bao making. It's comparable to American hamburger, so I call it bao maker for next American hamburger. And so I'm really excited about this invention, which means it gives me a monopoly on a restaurant. That's my business proposition, is starting out with one restaurant, Chinese fast food. There's none right now, a Chinese fast food for bao, the next American hamburger. And from there, expanding it, building the one restaurant into a chain, a franchise. Hopefully, we get this fast food. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm Greg Love, the founder of Activity 8. I love adventure and doing fun activities. Now, finding or sharing your skills to do activities is sometimes challenging, trying to meet people to do things or meet people to teach them to do things. So we founded a company called Activity 8, which is basically an interactive app where you can post things to do and people can join you and you can share your skills on it. So it's in-person Skillshare, and you can earn money while teaching someone how to do something fun, whether it's painting or riding a bike or anything you can think of. Our target market is over $200 billion, so it's a big market. And then our competitors, they're pretty much focused on facilitating more like Zoom calls and, the easy way out, so not so much in person. And then our competitive edge is basically we're a bunch of geeks and it's all built in-house. So that's a big edge from us because we know where we're going with it and we can build it a lot cheaper. Other than that, we are live on the marketplace on Android and iOS, so you can download the app under Activity 8.
All right, so now we'll go to the judges. Bill, do you want to give us some feedback on the general state of affairs with the pitches that we heard?
Yeah, sure. So it was pretty clear as you went through it, people learned from the previous players. It was really fascinating to watch as it escalated. And I'd say by the time it got down to Greg, he sort of had it dialed in. He was pretty well encompassed most of what was there. In terms of trying to come up with a pitch, it's like Maggie said, you're trying to tell a story in an engaging format, but at the end of the day, what you want that person to do that you're talking to is, I'd like to hear more. give them your card, or they give you their card and say, contact me, and we'll hear what else you have to say in a larger form or in a more extended format. So, but it's the problem, real quick, how many people it affects, what your solution is, and maybe why it's better than what's out there, right? To engage them as to why you and why this particular product. And then like when Greg said there was he had earned some dollars, well, guess what? It's essentially a marketplace is what he's saying. And then as you know, somebody can earn some money in it. And I'm assuming on the other side of that is some kind of model for Greg to earn some money out of it on his platform. And also it's a conversational tone. I found that several of you were pretty good at that. If you can have a really nice conversational tone where you can engage them in because they want to listen.
Cara, what's your feedback on the general pitches?
I agree with Bill with all the comments. I think everyone's pitches were really great. Personally, my favorite pitches are the ones that have a really big impact statement to start with, or a big problem hook. You know, it's not always how big the market is, or you know, how much money you're going to make. I mean, of course that's important, but you know, whose lives are you impacting, and who's it a problem for? You know, because at the end of the day, if it's a big enough problem, someone's going to pay for a solution. So I'm interested if you can introduce me to a problem I've never heard about, a customer segment I didn't know existed, and you could tell me about this super specific thing that they're facing, and have you're the expert at solving it, then I'm really interested in the conversation. And I'd like to learn more because I'd like to know how you specifically are going to solve that. But for me, I'm mostly interested, for at least short pitches like this, in that problem and in that thing that you want to do that's going to impact people. So, but I really thought a lot of pitches were great.
Thank you. Audrey, I'm going to call on you next to give some feedback.
Yeah, I think everyone definitely got better as it went along. So great that you were learning. But Bill kind of said that, or Maggie said this earlier, it's really important to have those different lengths of pitches prepped. And so I think at the beginning, a lot of you were starting to tell these long stories and these long introductions, but you kind of have to get to the point. And I feel like Laura did that really well. She just gave a quick personal introduction about why this business was important, and then went straight into what the concept was and how this would help people. So just kind of taking notes from that, getting ready really quickly in those short pitches to get someone to want to learn more. And then in the 10-minute pitch, you can go a little bit more in detail.
Yes. So time, I mean, the biggest thing, and I know it sounds trite, but just practice makes perfect. So having done this, we saw that a couple of, and I'm not going to, everyone came in here in a safe spot to basically have an opportunity to practice, but it definitely stood out the ones that had practiced and done this before. I'll point out Job Dog, or that had done this before, practiced the 1 minute. So I think the timing is a big thing you're gonna have to nail. And that extends to all pitches up the scale. If you're doing it 1, 7, 10, you can talk about constraints of attention. If you have someone who has a partnership customer or investor capacity, everyone's bandwidth is clogged these days. If you can't get their attention to communicate within that short amount of time frame, they're going to pass over you. Same thing with just kind of hard deadlines. Investors set up a structured schedule of how they want the pitch to run. You're going to comply with that. And having your timing down in practice will be very beneficial to helping you get the main parts of your venture concept across in an effective manner in the required time. So practice makes perfect, and it's important both from a attention span perspective and from being able to meet constraints set on you by customers or investors or whoever you might be pitching to.
All right, let me give my feedback. I noticed that Tushar actually brought up how his friends formed the company. And I didn't hear about the teams for anybody else. So he kind of started off working with that and then got a little too technical for a 1 minute pitch. So it's nice if you can work that in there, but we really need to hear more about the problem and solution and why you're doing it in a 1-minute pitch. And yes, it was very obvious to me who had practiced. So you guys will all have another opportunity to do this. And I can't stress enough how practice really helps you to feel comfortable in doing this. And then you'll find that you're in the supermarket and you're going to practice on the person behind you in line. Yes, whenever you're ready.
All right. In 2000, 1,200 rogue drone flights were detected over the LAX landing and takeoff pattern in a single month. This has been validated at dozens of airports across America. All levels of government and the aviation community have designated drone intrusions as a major threat to safety and to national security, evidenced by the White House Domestic Counter-UAS National Action Plan and the Drone Act of 2022, which integrates 550 airports and almost 18,000 federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, creating a $145 million a year market. Safelite is the first and only company to use universal protocols and unique software to link air traffic control, 911 centers, and nearly 1 million field users. Our core team of 6 law enforcement professionals and our development partners at UNR and the 152nd Air National Guard are delivering that future.
So you did, I mean, a fabulous job of getting a lot more information into your 1 minute. Anybody else want to add anything?
Really enjoyed it. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, it really wanted me to learn more. So now we're going to move on to the 3-minute pitches.
JobDog is the next one-stop global job assignment platform where employers and job seekers connect through video resumes of already vetted candidates for immediate hire, delivering a convenient, fast, reliable way to get work and hire a diverse pool of people instantaneously. JobDog is transforming and advancing the functions of physical brick and mortar staffing agencies and resume recruiting job boards. There's problems that exist because people are now going into job boards, looking for jobs, applying to jobs on internet job boards and with staffing agencies. Staffing agencies use job boards and job boards rely on staffing agencies to connect people, and still people don't get a job. So that is why we came up with JobDog to connect people through video resumes so they can get hired immediately. The background checks makes it more convenient for the employers because now they don't have to go use other vendor management companies, background check companies, skill set check companies. It's all completed right on the JobDog platform. There's a business analytics tool built inside of the platform so employers can track staffing levels, monitor staffing trends, and job seekers can get multiple job assignments. Once they're on one job assignment, their profile is blocked out. Once that assignment is over, they're now made public again, and now they can pick up other job assignments. If an employer really likes a candidate that's already on an assignment, that employer can now say, I'm going to put a bid in for this candidate because I want to hire them as soon as they're off the assignment. JobDog just made it a convenient way for people to get jobs instantaneously. It's a bridge to permanent employment. So now the flexibility of home life and job life is made much more easier. Wow.
But you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
You have a minute left. Why don't you tell us how you're going to make money?
Okay, how I am going to make money is right now, that's a good thing. We now have a contract out with UNLV and we believe that we will secure it. We do have a client base already, Sierra Nevada Job Corps in Reno, Nevada. We're placing cafeteria attendants out there. We just placed a permanent candidate with Faith Organizing Alliance here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We did meet an investor who has committed to us to carry our payroll once we get the UNLV contract. But employers pay us the fee. Candidates never pay a fee. All they do is go on and they pick the assignments that they want to get, or employers can alert them and say, hey, I want to hire you. And the employers pay us a markup on the hourly salary. And then on permanent placements, we charge a percentage on the annual salary. So that's how we're going to get paid.
Does anybody have feedback for Stacy on that pitch?
I thought she was great, and you didn't come across as nervous at all.
I got interested in the video resume because I'm not really familiar with it. and it sounded kind of unique to me. So that caught my attention, wanting to know more.
I thought it was great. I think, yeah, you didn't look very nervous. You definitely presented yourself very clearly. I did just maybe to get down into the details. When we asked you how you made money, I think the first thing you should say is that the employers pay you the fee. And then after that, you can go into where you're currently getting your funding. But investors or new investors want to know, how are you going to continuously make money? It's great that you have an investor helping with payroll and you might have a contract with UNLV, but beyond that, how are you going to continue to make your money? So just that comment.
That's generally where I was gonna echo is straight up. We make money by charging the recruiting agencies or the recruiters essentially, or the firms, and then talking about, okay, we have this contract. Here is our go-to-market. We are going towards this market first, and this represents potential $ millions of dollars. You can quantify the initial market you're going to initially, because that implies to investors, okay, that I've thought about my go-to-market strategy and I've thought about the size of that market that I'm potentially entering. And other than that, well done. You've demonstrated the problem, the solution. You even walked us through kind of a technical walkthrough of how this is a problem and why it's a problem. And you talked about your traction, which is good. So, talking about what you've done thus far is always great if you can bring that to bear. So overall, well done.
Okay, Laura, you are up next.
Once again, I'm Laura Watson with Limitless Village, a co-working, co-learning community space. And I don't know how to advance my screen. Here we go. I have an extensive background in education. Education is, for me, the most important thing in life. I have my master's in education. I also am a pizzeria owner for the last 15 years, a Big Sister volunteer, an Amazon bestselling author, and a managing director of a networking group. This whole journey has started with my two children who I left my education career for them. And on the left is a picture of my daughter before, when she was young in her school career. And it really, by middle school, it became clear that school was not the place for her. But as I said, I was running a pizzeria and I was unable to do anything about it, regardless of my teaching degree. So I came up with the idea of adapting our education system to the 21st century so that 21st century parents, especially 21st century mothers, could be able to spend more time with their children and have time for their careers. Families have been suffering, and I know my family, I didn't have time to do the things that I wanted to do with my kids, and school was really a toxic environment for my child. So as I set out to create a new solution, which is a co-working space like WeWork, but it's for families and their children, so that the 21st century parent can keep their career and have time for their family. And Limitless Village has co-working space for parents, community space so that parents can work together, and learning space for not only children with a self-directed learning education, but also business education, parent education, and community education courses, such as art classes and things like that. So we have co-working, event space, party space, and learning space for everybody. The co-working market currently is about 1.35 trillion, and in the Reno area, it's about 5.7 million. And not all of these slides are complete. So the homeschooling market, we all know because of COVID, is growing tremendously. For year one, I'm looking at about 6,000 a year per family. And by year three, I'm looking at about 9,600 a year for family as people become more involved. And I have some competitors right now, which would include some small co-working spaces, but none of them offer childcare. And out of all of these, I would be the only one offering homeschool resources, pre-K, extracurricular fitness centers for parents and their children.
So Laura, Laura,
Yes.
you're 10 seconds over.
Okay. So, but yes, that is in a nutshell. It's my slides are a little long, but I do have some of those other things, marketing plan and so
Well, I
on.
think you described the problem pretty well, and we got to the solution pretty well. I think after you first announced the solution, you wanted to go into too much detail about your solution instead of getting to how you make money. There were increases along the way for each family, but I wasn't getting why it was going to be worth that much more in the second and third years. So you could cram more information in there.
Right. It's a lot because there's so many offerings, but yeah, it is. I'm hoping that the resources that we have available would grow over time, so more classes and more opportunities would be available.
Bill, do you have some feedback?
Yeah, I just had a comment. The first time you went through, I just had a disconnect on what you meant by adapting the education system. Once you went through this round, I picked up on it, but you sort of said, I'm going to adapt the education system. And I was waiting for, okay, how? You kind of went off into another area. And then a little bit later, you came back to it. You had me going about how to adapt, but you never really attacked it and said, this is what I'm doing. Co-working space where I can come work, my kids can come here and be educated. But, and once I got that thread, then I was thinking, okay, how's this really going to work? What kind of programs are you going to have? And I think those are the types of things at a high level that you could have gone 1, 2, 3, and it would have come across a little bit better. I know you were kind of pacing through the slides here, and that probably didn't help any, but that would have been my approach on it.
Okay.
Cara,
Okay.
or
Yeah, I have that in my website. So, but
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Cara?
Yeah, I mean, I echo Bill. I think I actually really liked your 1 minute. And if your slides weren't here and you just gave me that 1 minute again to hook me again and then dive into your slides, I think I would have been captured a little bit more. One of the challenges with what you have is you have so many different service offerings. And so you want to explain them all, but you can get lost in the weeds. And so one way to do that is to say, this is a problem, this is a solution, this is a problem or solution. So this is problem 1, 2, 3, solution, ABC. And it's always a one-to-one. That way, if you introduce a problem, you're definitely answering it in the next slide, because you can get into the weeds on all of these. And I really think this is an interesting concept. I'd love to learn more about the actual children's programs also, and what does that look like, and what does the whole space look like? I have a 1-year-old, so I completely relate to this as a problem. Yeah, and I mean, so this is really, really cool. I think it's all just distinguishing the different problems that you're solving, and then just exactly how you're solving them. So just super simple. But otherwise, it's great.
So you think I should focus more on, we're basically a resource for homeschoolers, so that it's a homeschool resource so parents can keep their careers.
Yeah, so I mean, a way to communicate that is, homeschool. Talk about it from the perspective of a homeschooling parent, and talk about maybe the hours that they are losing at work, or the hours they're not able to homeschool, and talk about the challenges that person faces, and tell me who they are, and then say, this is an all-in-one solution that offers these things. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about the perspective you're going to stand in, the person that you're going to be, if you were going to tell me the customer persona, and then how they interface with that solution. And that's one way to not get all in the weeds. It's like you're speaking as a person that's facing this challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Victory, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Victory Osari. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Area AI, a startup that came out of the president's Innovation Challenge from UNLV earlier this year. The problem we identified through the Innovation Challenge was that there is an inadequate access to high quality geographic 3D data that professionals around our state needs to build a better city and a better future together. 3D information is already being used by several industries to plan cities, to design cities. But the problem is that there is not a systemic or standardized way for people to access this data, which is continuing to contribute to a growing digital divide. We came together to provide a solution that provides comprehensive access to premium quality geographic data through drone mapping technology and a software platform. Our software platform allows professionals to be able to access inch perfect 3D scans of our state using a virtual 3D library that's completely web-based. Our 3D data in this library range from 2D models to 3D point cloud and digital twin models of buildings and areas around the state. Our business model, we offer drones as a service where we actually, for a quoted fee, fly drones to capture data for a client, and our platform as a service that users can onboard to be able to download the data that they need to design their projects. We have custom pricing for clients to be able to request whatever kind of data sets that they want, and we create actual custom pricing for them. And our library is actually based on the freemium model that comes with a subscription fee. We're targeting, from our research, we're targeting the North American market, which represents about $2.6 billion of the global drone services market. And we think we should be able to capture about 5 to 10% with our drone services and our software platform, which comes to about $260 million. Our traction so far includes revenue of about $23,000, and we're projecting $20,000 monthly recurring revenue by Q1 2021. We've also scanned over 3,000 acres worth of land here in Nevada that's already helping professionals to design better buildings, apply for grants, and to visualize the projects. Our go-to-market strategy really involves targeting our customers, which are drone pilots and professionals, and using marketing tools such as social media and our virtual library, and using third-party marketplace to sell our data. Our team comprises of professionals with over 40 years of experience
Victory, well done. The pitch itself went well. I think you went just and this tends to happen with like slightly technical products. You went a little into the woods, and you could have streamlined how you said this. And there might be ways for you to think about how you can get this across in a more streamlined fashion. But overall, I got it, understood what you did by the time of the end of the solution. What I will say is your slides were well branded. They looked good. However, they were really dense. I can tell this is probably meant more to be delivered to someone to read versus going in for a narrated deck, because I can't, if you're pitching in a room, I can't read any of the small print. There's too much small print, and I can get distracted by trying to read the small print. So streamline your slides and make it so that your narration carries the strength of this, and there's not all this information I need to swim through. And that'll serve you for when you're pitching and when you're narrating, you're pitching in person, or you're pitching online. That'll keep it focused. That'll make your delivery more structured and compelling. And one last thing is good on the business model. It was clear what you did, and it was pretty clear what you were charging. But overall, well done.
Yeah, I think you had a really great pitch deck. It was a little bit dense, but there were some slides that I thought were really beneficial. I really liked your go-to-market slide. That was pretty clear to me. And also your TAM SOM looked pretty good. There was a lot of information on the TAM SOM slide as well. Your SOM is a little bit high. So I think if you are able to justify that a little better, that would be great. But overall, you had great timing on each of your slides. You did a good job explaining the problem as well. So I think you did good for the 3-minute pitch.
And Bill.
Yeah, I'll echo. It was a great job. You definitely got me thinking about, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. And now where I went to, frankly, was how are you going to sell to these people that were on your go-to-market slide? That's what I really started focusing on, because I view the space as pretty competitive already. Also, I would be curious about the tech and the quality, but I mean, in a 3-minute pitch, maybe a little bit too much. I don't know if there's a way to slide that in, but I was particularly interested in, okay, I know there's a bunch of people out there doing this. I'm invested in a company that uses balloons, frankly, and they spend a boatload of time on cameras trying to figure out how to get the best resolution. So that's where I focused. But overall, you covered it all. You hit it all, and it was a good pitch.
Thank you, Bill. Maggie, did you want me to respond to that, or is this just clearly feedback?
No, it's just feedback.
Okay.
I think that everybody could see that you actually got a lot of information into that 3 minutes, and that there's a huge difference between a 1-minute pitch and a 3-minute pitch. There's just so much more you can go over, and you did a great job. So Greg, you're up next.
Hello, I'm Greg Love, founder and lead engineer of Activity 8. Ready, play, earn. We empower everyday people to earn money doing fun activities. We're on a mission to make the process empowering and a positive feedback loop. Now, the problem is trying to find someone to teach you something is a nightmare. And then if you have a skill to teach someone, it's also a nightmare. So from the student perspective, basically, when you're trying to find someone, you have no idea what the quality is going to be like or how credible their information is that they're marketing somewhere. Then payment is always a gamble because it's by the hour, so you don't really know how much. So you're kind of on the hook for that. Then there's also no community that's cultivated. You kind of get taught and then left. And then from the teacher's perspective, it's also a big nightmare because it's such an effort. It's almost like starting your own company. There's liability, and then it becomes a job. Then the communication and coordinating is a real pain in the butt. People cancel on you, and you're left with not getting paid. Then that's with the reservations. I've had this personally on both sides. Being a student, trying to get a good piano teacher. And battling with that and paying a lot of money and not really learning anything for a number of reasons. And then being a teacher, I'm a yoga teacher and an instructor of mountain biking and a bunch of other activities, skiing. And a lot of times the people don't show up, or else, we have a lot of these communication problems of arrangements and where to meet and all these things. So our solution is a frictionless app to find someone and earn money while teaching someone. How we do it? We bring smart tools to the real world. On the student side, they can see all the information in one place, even share it with someone else, easily make the payment and know that it's a set price, and also see the other students that are coming and get to know them or connect with other people. On the teacher side, it's like an instant business. 0 effort, and you're ready and you're earning. Coordinating with everyone is easy. It's because it's all in one place and you have a calendar. And taking payments is simple because the payment process is aligned. So the students pay when they book, so there's no getting left with not getting paid in the end. So here's a quick example. This is basically taking cooking as an example. Because it's kind of an out there activity you might not even think about. And you can simply say, I'm cooking tomorrow, come and learn how to cook veggie quiche in 15 minutes, take a portion to go, $20. You post that. And then from a student perspective, they can find it and say they want to do it.
I think you kind of said it, Maggie. It was, you just needed to accelerate into covering those specific areas. I'm not quite sure. All these slides seem to focus more on, well, you spent a fair amount of time on the problem. But then I was more interested in, okay, your solution. And that what I struggled with is I am assuming this is all on a platform and app, I think is what you said the first time. If I'm correct. I don't remember.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
actual
exactly.
product right here. This is a picture of it. That's live.
Yeah. So it's just taking the time to, pick out the slides that you really want to get across. That's, I think, the effort here on a 3-minute, if you're going to use slides.
Thanks, Bill. Logan, do you have some feedback?
And Bill covered a number of things. One of the things I will say, and I gave a little bit of the same advice to Arrow AI, is that, again, enlarge and bold out the font. I'm not going to be able to read anything on this, and if it is going to be narrated, then being able to have brief text that I can actually read is going to be important. It's almost kind of as bad as having it just too much text in there. The light gray on dark gray is, doesn't pop out. So you want this to be a narration tool and not me having to squint to see what you wrote, essentially. I think you got, there's a way to kind of accelerate this and deliver the 3 to 4 really punchy problems that you're trying to address. And then, of course, being able to show how you're differentiating against current solutions that might be on the market, or what your user base already does. What are they already using? And that might just come with practicing on the 3-minute pitch versus the 10-minute pitch. But on that, that's all I have.
Audrey, did you have any feedback?
I think Bill and Logan have synthesized everything that I would say as well. Obviously, you said you were prepared for a 10-minute pitch, so it makes sense why it was going a little slower. But yeah, you were taking a while on the problem, but yeah, just be prepared for the 3-minute pitch the next time you're asked to do that. But otherwise, I think everything Bill said was pretty on point.
So that kind of concludes our pitch practice. See, there's nothing to be afraid of. We're trying to be positive and cheerleaders for each other, because pitching is not easy. Starting your own business is not easy. So the more that we can support each other in practicing the stuff that's hard, the better off that we'll be. So join us next Tuesday. It's going to be CJ Cornell. CJ has written several books on mentorship, and he is an exited founder. So he's going to have a lot of great wisdom for us. And you'll be able to bring other questions too, besides his topic, because he has been a mentor to founders in Arizona for years and years. So that's next week. And then the week after, we're going to do this all over again. More pitch practice and deconstruction. Thanks for joining us.